The hum of the lobby at Sterling Huxley Innovations was a finely tuned orchestra of ambition. It was a sound Richard Sterling, the company's CEO, had conducted for 20 years, a symphony of quiet phone calls, the soft click of expensive shoes on marble, and the deferential murmur of greetings as he passed. He was a good conductor, he thought, but lately, the music felt stale. From his perch on the executive floor, looking down through the vast glass atrium, his eyes often landed on the man who stood sentinel at the front desk, Marcus Thorne. Thorne was in his late 30s, with a stillness that was almost unnerving in the building's constant motion. He was a black man of medium height, built like a compact engine, and his security guard uniform, though clean and pressed, seemed like a costume on him. He was an anomaly, a silent period at the end of a long, breathless sentence. For 6 months, Thorne had been a fixture, performing his duties with a quiet, unobtrusive professionalism that made him nearly invisible. And that, Richard realized, was the problem. Richard was a proponent of a flat, inclusive corporate culture, or so he told Forbes in interviews. He wanted to break down silos. So, during the quarterly all-hands meeting, standing before 300 of his brightest employees, he made a spontaneous, grand gesture. And finally, he said, his voice booming with practiced charisma, our annual leadership retreat to the Obsidian Ridge Lodge is next week. This is for our VPs and senior directors, a chance to strategize and bond in a truly inspiring setting. He paused, letting the prestige of the event settle in the room. Then, he went off script. But you know, leadership isn't confined to the boardroom. This year, I want to extend a special invitation. Marcus Thorne, from our security team. I'd be honored if you would join us. A wave of confusion rippled through the auditorium. Heads turned. Whispers erupted. Marcus, standing at his post by the main entrance, didn't flinch. His eyes, dark and unreadable, met Richard's across the vast space. A flicker of something, annoyance? Resignation, crossed his face before it was gone. He gave a single, curt nod. The gesture was meant to be inspiring. It felt, instead, deeply awkward. For the rest of the week, the invitation was the talk of the company. To the executive team, it was baffling. Is this some kind of social experiment? Richard asked CFO Alan Pritchard, a man whose starched collars seemed to hold his head in a permanent state of disapproval. What's he going to contribute to a discussion on Q4 growth strategy? Security protocols for the minibar? The lodge was a masterpiece of rustic architecture, a palace of timber and stone perched on a cliff's edge. A massive stone fireplace dominated the great room, and floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the jagged peaks. It was beautiful, but Marcus saw the vulnerabilities. The single-access road. The exposure to the elements. The reliance on a power grid that snaked miles through dense, unforgiving forest. That evening, at a lavish dinner, Richard tried to draw him out. So, Marcus, what did you do before this? Were you in the service? For a time, Marcus said, his answer a closed door. Alan Pritchard, 3 glasses of wine in, leaned over. My nephew was in the army. Did you peel a lot of potatoes? He said the food was terrible. Marcus looked at him, his gaze level. Something like that. The next day, the agenda called for a 5-mile leadership hike to a scenic overlook. The sky was a brilliant, cloudless blue when they set out. The executives, clad in expensive, brand-new hiking gear, treated it like a race, jockeying for position alongside Richard. Marcus, in simple cargo pants and worn-in boots, stayed at the back of the pack. He wasn't looking at the view, he was watching the horizon, feeling the subtle shift in air pressure, and noting the way the wind had begun to whisper through the pines with a different accent. Just a summer squall, Alan announced, though his voice trembled slightly. It'll pass. It did not pass. The rumble grew into a deafening roar. Rain began to fall, not in drops, but in solid, wind-driven sheets that felt like ice. Within minutes, the trail was a muddy torrent. Lightning spiderwebbed across the sky, striking a nearby ridge with a crack that vibrated in their bones. Panic began to set in. We need to get back to the lodge, shouted the VP of marketing, her face pale with fear. No, the trail is too dangerous now, countered the head of engineering. We should find shelter. They were leaders of a billion-dollar company, but here, they were just scared, disorganized people. Their arguments were lost in the howl of the wind. Richard, their CEO, looked helpless, his authority stripped away by the raw power of the storm. It was then that a new voice cut through the chaos. It was calm, clear, and absolute. Everyone, shut up and listen to me. Now. All eyes turned to Marcus Thorne. He was no longer the quiet, invisible guard. His entire posture had changed. He stood with his feet planted, his body a bulwark against the wind. The passivity was gone, replaced by an aura of intense, focused command. He pointed to a thicket of young pines about 200 yards down the slope. That's our objective. We will move as a group. No one runs. No one gets left behind. Alan Pritchard, dripping and shivering, scoffed. And who put you in charge? The debate was over. You, he said, pointing to the burly VP of sales. You're strong. You'll be at the rear. Make sure no one falls behind. You, to the wiry head of IT, stay with me at the front. We'll set the pace. His movements were economical and sure. He assessed the injury with practiced hands, his touch firm but gentle. It's a sprain, not a break. You can't put weight on it. Without another word, he ripped a section of fabric from his own shirt, used it with two sturdy branches to fashion a makeshift splint, and then hoisted her onto his back in a fireman's carry as if she weighed nothing. The executives, who struggled to carry their own day packs, watched in stunned silence. When the sky cleared enough for a rescue helicopter to be a possibility, Marcus knew they couldn't stay hidden in the trees. He led them to a small, clear meadow. He had them lay out their brightly colored, and useless of rain jackets to form a large X. He used the reflective surface of a broken compact mirror to signal a news chopper he spotted in the distance. He was thinking 3 steps ahead, always focused on the mission, getting his team home. When the rescue team finally arrived, they didn't defer to the CEO in the expensive jacket. They spoke to the man who had taken command, the one who gave them a clear, concise report of the group's status and the injured. The ride back to the lodge was silent. The executives didn't look at each other. They kept stealing glances at Marcus, who sat quietly, his face once again a calm mask, though this time they saw it differently. They saw the strength beneath the stillness. They saw the leader they had failed to recognize. That night, back in the lodge, the power still out, the great room was lit by the flickering glow of the fireplace. Richard Sterling found Marcus staring into the flames. I don't know what to say, Richard began, his voice raw with humility. You saved us. All of us. Marcus just nodded. I was a fool, Richard continued. That invitation, it was a stunt. I thought I was being enlightened, but I was just being patronizing. I'm sorry. You didn't know, Marcus said, his voice low. No, I didn't. But I should have seen you, not the uniform. Who are you, Marcus? The next morning, as they prepared to leave, the atmosphere was transformed. The executives approached Marcus one by one. Alan Pritchard, his face etched with shame, stuck out his hand. I am profoundly sorry for my behavior, Mr. Thorne. Thank you. Jessica, the marketing VP, gave him a tearful hug. You carried me for 2 miles. You never even broke a sweat. On the bus ride down the mountain, no one offered Marcus champagne. Instead, the VP of engineering sat next to him and quietly asked him about risk assessment in unpredictable environments. The head of HR asked him about his leadership philosophy. They weren't talking to the security guard anymore. They were trying to learn from the commander. A week later, Marcus was called into Richard Sterling's office. I'm dissolving our current risk management department, Richard said, getting straight to the point. It's a team of analysts who've never faced a real risk in their lives. I'm creating a new position. Director of Enterprise Resilience and Leadership Development. It's about protecting our people, our assets, and our operations, but it's also about teaching our leaders what real leadership looks like under pressure. It's about teaching them extreme ownership. The job is yours, if you want it. Marcus looked at the CEO, a man who had, in his own clumsy way, given him a chance. He thought about the quiet lobby, the invisible life. Then he thought about the feeling on that mountain, the clarity, the purpose, the feeling of being exactly where he was supposed to be. I accept, Marcus said. On one condition. Anything. We make the annual retreat mandatory for all employees. And the first training session, Marcus said, a ghost of a smile on his lips, is a 5-mile hike. Rain or shine. Thank you for watching our story. We hope it served as a reminder that heroes and leaders are all around us, often in the places we least expect. Their uniforms may change, but their character does not. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more true stories that inspire. Click the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next one.